your leader, the leader of this beautiful band of Bikram yogis, Michele.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Woo! Ow! Oh, just let me look at you guys. You know, it's been a while since we've had an anniversary party like this where we've been able to gather together. So, guys. Bikram Yoga San Jose is this beautiful container of people having so much diversity amongst each other. We believe in this yoga so that already diminishes differences as we both see something the same. It makes other conflicts less charged, knowing that we both are taking yoga. And in that sense, we've already laid down defenses, and instead what we're laying down is a foundation of oneness. That's the start of the community. Community that wins people, not points. We rally for each other, whether we are new or have practiced thousands of times, illustrating what the Bible defines as peace. Peace in relationships. Our culture will have us either avoid or dominate in relationships, but the yoga is a gardening tool that cultivates inclusion and sameness. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
I don't know the number of classes that I took. And you know, ask my team, and I had a hard time remembering the day we opened, right, ma'am? But you know what? This is what I do remember. Several teacher meetings before we first opened and the kind of conversations we had to bring to life. Yoga back then was still known as yogurt. Honest. I still remember failing our third inspection for plumbing, heading yet again to Home Depot, frustrated and upset, coming back and seeing Chacho, he was our contractor at the time, and his subs praying in a circle to get the studio up for a dream that Michele had. I recall vividly a moment I walked into the first studio early on, seeing several of our members huddled in different areas of the small, tight studio, talking and laughing, and for a moment for me, time stood still because I really saw a community in the making. These are things I remember. Fussy about how things were run, as in my previous world at Il Fornaio restaurant, silverware was polished, lipstick was on, and now it's showtime for the hundreds that were ready to come in for dinner. So you can imagine my reaction when I walked into the first studio, seeing several members folding our towels, with Chris at the helm, showing them how to properly do it so it fit in the shelving units just right. Oh my God. I didn't see Chris, I saw red. But really what I started to hear, right, was that sweet sound of contribution. It was just one of the bigger lessons that would come in owning BYSJ. In fact, maybe as I reflect and wrote this, it was a key moment where ego reduced when I gave up control and began to be a real leader and listen, right? What a profound takeaway to all of us, in particular those that do or want to run a business, host a community, or do well in relationships. It's listening. Our first anniversary parties in that teeny studio were so big, you guys remember, centering the yoga lobby with a long, tight captain's table to handle all the food. Home-cooked, delicious food, just like you guys are doing tonight. I was shocked at how many people came in and the amount of food that people brought in, proud to share their cultural favorites. Plates overflowing, still more food coming in, and this member, his name was Sahid, comes in and he looks at me and he goes, I'm gonna go home and get more tables and I'll be right back. Yeah, and I remember looking at him going, okay, mi casa, su casa, my house, your house, right? But listening, what I really heard was, I'm so comfortable here and I want to come back, and if you will, you can have even more of me. Right? These are things I remember. Sasha injured his knee in a ski accident. This tough Russian came in limping, used the yoga to heal his knee, and yet tears in his eyes as he thanked me, as he was able to do again what he loved to do, which was ski. I remember that so vividly. I was so happy. This is what I remember. Rod, Hines, and Satya would talk before class, girls always giggling in the bathroom. A fire team coming together to have dinners told me that this place connects people that otherwise would never have met. Our circles, our cultures, our customs are different. Yet, are we really different? No, I stated to myself, and a further responsibility grew in me that we were doing good things for a more peaceful world.
Yeah.
These are things I remember. Back then, teachers and work trade, as we called it, they kind of overlapped in duties. Lelania was a popular teacher, and you know her, a dear friend, and if you're listening, Lelania. And to anybody who met her, you would know that she has the most infectious smile. She has this incredible voice, and she can sell ice to Eskimos. So you need to hire her, Laju. She's just amazing.
Noted.
Yeah, Lelania. Lelania, you have a job. She's in Australia, by the way, so you can bring your clothes on. But listen to this, you guys, okay? Answering a solicitation call, Lelania answered a few questions about the need for tampons at the studio. Always enthusiastic, you guys know where I'm going with this. Always enthusiastic, she answered, well, we have thousands of women at this fitness studio. Unaware of this conversation, Chris, our BYSJ manager at the time, now friends with every UPS delivery person, calls me to tell me that we have a UPS truck outside filled with sample tampons, and where would he like me to put them? See, you guys are laughing, because A, you know Lelania, and B, you know Chris. Which is, I wasn't going to share this story, but you know what? It shows Chris Canavero's wit, his sarcasm, and he actually knew Lelania was behind it. And while it was comical between he and I and his family, he would never let Lelania know that. Because it was love. He and I always started there, and while Chris and I fought, we ended there too. I love how he disagreed with me many times, and yet if I felt strongly, he was in. No questions, no backlash, completely behind the decision. You know, I can't explain our partnership. God sent him this way for 10 glorious years. It's like he and I made a contract in the heavens way before we were born. You know, these lights, I call them halo lights. They were to be a surprise to all members in our second studio. So Chris and I, when we were in the second studio before we officially opened, we checked out the lights and we didn't like them. We decided we would keep them off because they were just so disco. Right? But, you guys, little did we know that we would have turned them on 24/7 to help pray and show support for Chris during his diagnosis. And when he passed, they became really the spirit upon us, watching over us like he always did. We carried them over into this studio. That's what these are. They're halo lights, and it's Chris watching over us. Yeah? Studio with Chris had so much excitement, bursting at the seams in the first studio. We kept the inside of the second studio a secret. Both of us so desperately wanted to give this community something special. If you guys remember, we were fitting in like 60 people in a 900 square foot yoga studio, right? And you know what, Lauren, you're right. I mean, we really wanted to give the men a second shower, the women a second toilet, and maybe some real seats to sit on, right? And I remember our opening day, it was kind of mesmerizing. George Homer, I think he just kind of stared for a while. And I remember Mark Townsend came in the room, and he just stood in front of the mirrors just staring. Just everybody was so grateful. So if you're wondering where the clap came from after class, right there. The overwhelming gratitude of having a studio so divinely given needed an outward expression of gratitude. And you members chose to do it there after class with a clap, and you still do it today. You still do it today. The second studio of 8 years years is a bit of a blur for me. I remember certainly, but so much runs together because it was a highly running machine in every way. We were so busy. We converted over to Mind Body, everyone now with key tags. Group home was on the scene, and we went forward bringing in hundreds of new people. Our heating system was overwhelmingly hot and underbuilt, so it was a constant issue to address. We packed in people, so many guest teachers. Workshops were big in popularity. We hosted several of them. Facebook and social media took off, so that became part of our business strategy. We hosted yoga competitions, and then we helped Ryan and Izzy open a sister studio in Folsom. You guys raise your hand. So, you guys, that's a lot, right? That's a lot. Yet soon into the studio, Chris was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. The expenses were so high in the new studio, having to pay off the climbing costs of the build-out. And then the disturbing issues swirling around Bikram started to overshadow all the good we were doing. Small fire on our roof coming from our heating system. And you guys, the one person who could help was arrested at nearly the same time. And honestly, when I was looking back at this, I was numb really to all that. I was numb to the urgency of it all. My mom had passed away, and losing Chris just kind of brought me back into that daze again. And it was uncomfortable. And you know, it's even kind of uncomfortable talking about it now. But you know what? Just like in our yoga practice, you guys, what I saw then is really what I see now. A recent podcast, this pastor was stating how he has the best job in the world, and I was like, no. I have the best job in the world. I get to literally see people change, body and your lives, all of you as I look around. So for me, at times when stress is high and clarity is needed, I always go back to something I learned from Oprah Winfrey. What do I know for sure? It's in the back of her magazine, the last paragraph. And I thought, you know what? Talk about bringing clarity. What do I know for sure? You know what I knew? What I know now. That even in the midst of trouble, this yoga works. I never had an inkling to change what we were doing. Never denied what we held true to countless thousands from the day we opened. And isn't that what the yoga teaches us? Shouldn't I, your leader, above all, practice what I preach? Not give in to a situation, not be swayed by circumstances. Wouldn't I have missed the point? So it was time to be resilient, and I felt a power in staying put. I recall in my 20-year journey 2 compelling moments when I was being asked to put a stake in the ground as to who we were. A situation arose 3 years in the studio, and I felt our identity kind of cloudy. And the truth is, if the leader is not decisive in action, well, nothing else is either. The action I needed to take wasn't just the situation, it was a firm declaration that we were going to stay true to a Bikram Yoga studio. And you know, that clarity is in the air today. No reservation, no hesitation. BYSJ, lock the knee. Yeah? Is it? Was well into our second studio amidst all the concerns. It's like a good yoga practice. Listen here. And an injury occurs and you're not sure if the yoga suits you anymore. Or your schedule changes, or there's pressure at work, and responsibility at homes intensify. And maybe it's okay to let the yoga fade for a while. And right then I said, you know, Michele, time to listen again. And what I heard this time was all of you. Brad, I know you're listening. Brad Fire came to light up the house with his energy, igniting a community that was hurt by the loss of Chris. Michelle Pryor, she's here. Raise your hand, your friends. Stepping in, owning all the membership concerns. Jen, Natalie, Jeff, graciously offering their homes to me. Sign-up sheets, taking turns driving Chris to appointments. Getting in food, and a flooding of money. Hundreds and thousands from you with your stories about what this yoga has done. Even Chris in the beginning was the most skeptic. He didn't quite believe in the yoga. And you know, in his last few months, he tells me he regrets not doing more. So for me, enough said. I knew I was in, now I knew that you were in too. That means I'll step into any fire, whether people agree or disagree. It only takes a knowing, a bulldog determination knowing, and withstanding the heat is easier. There's a great book by Aubrey Malphurs called Being Leaders, and it says, mission is the direction a business will go. Vision is the compelling picture of what that direction looks like. I'll say it again. Mission is the direction the business will go. Vision is the compelling picture of what that direction looks like. It communicates not just what is, but what can be. So, here comes Josh Piro helping us in sales. Here comes Matt and Sarah Newman. They're here. They're organizing. And her ongoing commitment to getting the message out the right way even while she was pregnant. Shirley getting our financials in order and bringing on Michael Wickler right here. Amelia Tony. So what I'm giving you guys, right, is the compelling picture is people. People who believe. People to rally and revitalize why we were here in the first place. Like yoga, alignment is key. Go back and start from scratch with all the experience you have now and let go of more to be more. So question everything. Are your palms together tight like the glue? No room for lighter air? Nothing hanging, nothing loose? Don't lose the grip. In other words, we, listen here, BYSJ as a yoga community have been doing our yoga too. Do you get that? BYSJ as a yoga community has been doing its yoga too. The practice was always the core, the heart and soul of you, me, and BYSJ. 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises done every day in a hot room is the recipe for a realized life. Self-realization is the end-all, meaning it is the completion of living out a fully satisfaction of living type life. It's individual, yet done better together. It can't be summed up, yet it has strict instructions. You won't get it in decades of practice, but you'll feel it after one class. It's the toughest thing you'll ever do, but you won't want to stop thinking about your next class. It can't be destroyed. It's infinite, even though the practice requires a body living a finite amount of time. You may not like it, but you'll do it anyway. You may find it boring at first, and then you'll mature soon enough to realize that it's peace-filling. Toxicity will leave you, and you won't want the same food, the same entertainment, and the same conversations. You can look fear in the face, even though it's hard. Your blood pressure will normalize. Mine better in here, right? Your good sleep will return, and you'll wonder why you're crying. See the same sunset, but now for the first time. You've awakened. Yeah, right? You've awakened, and even though you are completely different, you look the same. Can I push the gas a little more? Yes. Say yes. Yeah? Dialogue is the lamp. How you choose to express each posture is the light. Discern the wise counsel, and you will prosper brightly. Yoga has no room for wishy-washy. Hardship in life, struggle in your postures are synonymous with the latter softening the former. Would you rather suffer 90 minutes or 90 years? 90 minutes. Good answer. In other words, yoga, Bikram Yoga proclaims only that good vision of life for you to encounter, free of fear, empowered to live with gratitude and courage. And like Aubrey Malphurs states, your mission, your personal direction here at BYSJ is to accept the journey in this classroom every day, each moment, no matter what, manifesting not just what is, but what can be. Yes. Right? And what's more, when you make up your mind, really pour in the conviction, no choice mentality, things start to happen. Heather, VP of the company that owns us, walked into the second studio one day and asked if she could talk me through an idea that they have for the center. Puzzled, she opens up plans for a complete overhaul of the center, to include moving us. Ironically, not long before that, Matt Newman and I had a meeting, and he expressed his wish that he wanted to build out a yoga room one day. It's very funny. An ideal yoga room using his engineering genius. Not only did Matt do that, but he was also really the project manager for the entire studio that we're in right now, working closely with the general contractor. Each Monday night, starting at 6, there's about 11 of us that will discuss next steps and go through ideas, details, budget, samples, and get the best out of the first and second studio. A community needs a purpose, and a purpose needs a community. So the first studio introduced us to the purpose. The second studio really grew our community. So the third studio brought both together. A community that serves a purpose, and a purpose that serves a community. Equal and simultaneously. Yeah, right? I'm so proud of that when I look at that. This well-orchestrated studio came together and opened January 2020. It's a beautiful opening. Many of you have an anniversary party. Lots of hugging. We loved the dialed-in room. We loved the flow water. We loved the living wall. Lori, thank you, and Michael. And all cylinders were rolling efficiently. Giving you guys, we had a retreat to give you guys more education, more opportunities, and then, boom, March 16th. I'll never forget that staff meeting as long as I live. There was shock in the meeting, tension in the meeting, and communion in the meeting. And what it seemed like an instant, we just got together and created ideas to keep this studio going during an unprecedented worldwide pandemic. You guys all remember that day too, March 16, 2020. So listen to this. Thank you, Renzo, appreciate that. It wasn't said, and I love you too so much, Steve. It wasn't said, but our collaborative mindset was, we weren't out of business, we just didn't have a building. Think of that. We weren't out of business. We just didn't have a building. We had a community, check that off. We had a purpose with a great product, check that off. And now we have the third leg in this stool, trust. We had your trust. You see, like yoga, over the years, that's what we've been building. And you guys, Tony Robbins will tell you that your growth is never a straight line. Just look at nature. Look at the tree, right? It has crooked limbs, knobby roots. And what do we still do? We grow up and we move forward. Never would I have agreed to do yoga outside on the pavement with so dirty, lying next to bird poop. Seriously. Never did I think that we would teach this yoga through a camera with people at home trying to move in stretches in spaces no larger than the size of a small bathroom. And as I look back, I can't believe for 8 months how we attracted countless Bikram yoga teachers, you guys online, around the globe, that led us in pranayama breathing each day live on Facebook. Can we clap here? This is a lot. So, BYSJ is showing, yes, it can be strong, but what's the other component that it showed? Flexibility, right? BYSJ can be flexible too. BYSJ grew at a time when many shut down. We use the situation, not blaming the situation. No one wants such a time, but how you respond is the answer. Because it's not what, but how. I'll say it again. It's not what, but how. How. Where's Sarah? There you go. It's true. Many of you today thank me for all we did during the pandemic. I'm so glad you didn't close. I still use live stream. I love the audio classes. So it's 2023 and here we are now. More of you return, more new people coming in, curious, maybe aware of their lungs for the first time, which is great. And guess what? We're here and we're always going to be. And it's your thanks. Actually, your thanks is being here, and I mean that. Every staff member I know I represent when I say your gratitude for what we've done is your decision to show up. Okay? Nod your heads, you're going to show up. Everybody's going to show up. Excellent. Keep showing up. So in fact, I know we don't have a lot of time here, but staff members, can you just stand up quickly? Every staff member that's ever worked at BYSJ, stand up. everybody, so much. It takes a village. Okay, I know I spoke a lot tonight. Thank you for allowing me to go down memory lane these past few weeks and pull out the gems from the 20 years we've had together. So I'm going to leave you with this, okay? I'm going to leave you with this. We often say that yoga is a means to an end, but I say yoga is a means to a beginning. It's this yoga, Bikram Yoga, available to everybody at any time to do consistently. The repetition will instill a healthy body, not perfect, but healthy. A more clear mind, not perfect, but stable. Together, mind and body unite, trying these postures the right way. You will become more disciplined and begin the journey of discerning what's working in your life and what's not working in your life. It's the repetition that if you endure, like BYSJ has, that you too, like me, many of you, will be so consumed with the peace, so gradual that you won't know it along the way, but it will permeate your entire being, and your whole life will be one of freedom, contentment, constant love, and not just a willingness, but an eager willingness to give. You want to know why you were here on this earth? You want to know your Creator? And please hear me out on this. In doing so, you will eliminate, not even suggest, anxiety, depression, and as our late Emmy Cleave states, everything else will fall into its proper place. Yeah? Yeah. You guys get that? Yes. Happy to reread it. You want me to? Okay. At my church, they had a series on handling depression, specifically in Silicon Valley. You guys, in 2014, 2 out of 3 of us were positive. Today, 2 out of 3 of us are pessimistic about our future. Oh, I'm so glad BYSJ is right here in Silicon Valley. BYSJ knows why it's here. It knows its purpose. May it continue to serve you in the way you need. And we gather here again together in another 20 years.